Case study number 2. If we see this case study, it has been covered in 8 pages by the ICA. And the pattern is that it will be covering 5 MCQ questions and descriptive questions are 2. The subjects covered are audit, AFM and DT. Remember that in exam you will get 5 MCQ questions of 2 marks each and 3 descriptive questions of 5 marks each. So this case study a bit different. Let's quickly move on to the required part. Our first thing to do in every case study. From the description given in case study relating to finance brought by individuals from their own resources and whose believe in promoting affordable education to all in the country and also improving its standards is aligned with mission of founders, which type of financing or a startup finance is being referred to. Means they are asking which type of financing it is being referred to. So it is covered in your SFM part in your last chapter, startup finance, if you remember. Don't worry, we will covering that in the later part of the video. So by analyzing this, we will able to understand that it is covering the type of finance for a startup. So this case study will be majorly focusing on the startups. The founder of GrowFind believes that some benefits are available to startup considering the description provided in case study. Which of the following statement is in accordance with the provision of the income tax? So in the second MCQ, they are asking about the income tax, rate of the income tax. So you should carry a list of the income tax rate separately in your exam. First is income tax rate and second is the TDS rate, because third MCQ have been asked about the TDS. As regard doubt of Mr. X regarding TDS in relation to ESOP is concerned, which of the following statement is most appropriate? Means TDS on ESOP is being tested in MCQ number 3. Let's move on to MCQ number 4. The startup is planning merger with another startup engaged in similar activities. Which of the following statement is lying in the provisions regarding proposed merger of these startups? Means if you remember, there is a chapter in CA final law in which section 230, 232 and 233 talks about merger. Some fast track merger is there or some normal provision for merger is there. So don't worry, we'll be discussing that in detail when we'll be solving the MCQ. Which of the following factor is not to be considered for valuing a startup like Grow Finance? So you get a slight idea that startup words is used again and again. So this case study mainly pertains to the startup part. Let's move on to the descriptive question. Only 2 descriptive questions are there. Grow Finance issued equity shares to individual having face value of rupees 10 per share at a price of rupees 50 per share. Means if you have a general understanding of startup, so all the shares of the startup are issued at a premium. What are the income tax implications for the same for the GrowFind? But is such tax commonly and popularly known as, I will give you a slight hint, it is called as angel tax. And if you have heard about this term, under which circumstances can GrowFind claim exemption from such a tax? And next is, startup Grow Finance is also planning to approach other investors to finance its business requirement, but specific points should be considered while carrying out due diligence of such startups for picking up an equity interest by a prospective investors. Means due diligence part is there, we have to move to the CA final audit part. So let's quickly read the case study. So first you should, before reading the case study, divide it into paras. So all the case studies of ICA should be covering in around 9 to 10 paras. So this case study also have divided into paras, so it is covering in 9 paras. Let's read the case study one by one. An article sign an article signing of PNs means apni praise. They are showing their own praise for Indians startup tech appeared in the New York Times. Means they are in that article they are praising about themselves. Recently, the article underlined that India has become home to many such startups. It pointed out that space technology is fulfilling smaller scale and commercial business like helping farmers in timely insurance of their crops. Just a second. Space technology is also helping commercial farming fleets in tracking their cash by sending images back to Earth. Satellites are bringing phone signals to countries' remotest corner and are helping in operation of farms solar farms far away from India's mega city. It is also one of the most sought after techs for venture capital investors. So means this is all the rubbish area which you don't have to put your focus on. Startups are mushrooming means they are rapidly growing in different sectors of Indian economy as varied as education, health, agriculture, fintech. They are just giving you general knowledge about the startup industry when article is being published, which is giving praise about themselves. Clean energy, electric vehicle, biotechnology, waste management, food processing, and even drones. Economic survey for the year 2023 highlight that by capitalizing on the digital infrastructure support, India has also emerged as one of the most vibrant destinations for startup ecosystem. Startups are being envisioned, they are viewed as the spine of the new India. In fact, India is home to world's third largest ecosystem. So these are all rubbish area which you don't have to put your focus on. You have to identify the area which you have to put your focus on. Because how will you identify it? Because you have already read the required part first. GrowFine is an edtech startup incorporated as a private company in April 2023. The founders of startup believe that some benefits are available to startups under income tax laws. However, they are unaware about the nitty-gritties. Nitty-gritties means small things of the same as they are from engineering and management background. The company has launched its products in year 2023-24 itself and had a turnover of 20 crores. It is recognized by the DPIT. This point will cover later on to a deep extent. Means these are recognized by the DPIT. Every startup has to take a recognition from the DPIT. DPIT is a department which provides recognition to the startups. Department for Promotion, Industrial and Internal Trade under Ministry of Commerce and Industry and holds a certificate of eligible business and is recognized as a technology driven startup by competent authorities. GrowFine has issued share to certain investors who are familiar with founders of these edtech startups during 2023-24. They believed in the business idea of the founders of the company and have decided to invest money out of their own resources. So if you have a slight idea about the startup, there are several modes of financing of startup. Some is personal credit, some is trade credit, some is banks, some are other personal loan, some are other factoring. So there are several modes by which we can finance a startup. In this case, they are able to find some investors who are familiar with founders of these startups. They believe in the business idea of the founders and they have their interest aligned. So it is a mode of the personal financing. These investors are weed that is linked to the idea of providing quality affordable education to all and promoting standards of education in the country. In this way their ideological belief stands aligned with missions of founders of the startup. The startup GrowFine has issued equity shares having face value of rupees 10 per share to these individuals at the rate 50 per share. If you remember in the required part also, so this is the important area. In the required part also we have read that the shares of rupees 10 have been issued at a premium of rupees 40, that is it has been issued at 50 rupees. The fair market value of equity shares of startup as on valuation date is rupees 11 per share. The existing paid up share capital of the company is 1.50 crore. So this information might be of need to me. I'm just going through that point of view. The company has not issued shares at premium any time in past. So means they are issuing the shares first time. Grow Fine is still in nascent stages, means at a beginning stages. However, it had already launched its products and has entered a segment of the market. The market has a considerable potential for companies business to grow. Startup not only need finance but they also require favorable and conducive economic system to grow. Means the people should also support their startup, customers should accept the startup, government should support the startups. So various other factors are also there for the success and the failure of the startup. It includes not only hand holding at a time of germination of a business idea, but also policy measures having a legislative backing. Means the government should support the startup. Means government where the government will be supporting. Government will be supporting in solar sector, wind sector. So these areas government are currently supporting. In India, relaxation and benefits have been provided to startup under various laws like Income Tax Act and Companies Act. Some benefit regarding like for some initial years or some nascent years, you will not be levied income tax. Some benefits are also provided in Companies Act. Grofine needs talented and skilled employees for his business. However, the company is not in a position to pay high cash salaries to attract and retain employees. It is therefore considering route of ESOP. TDS on ESOP was being asked in one of our MCQ. Employee stock option provide a chance to employee to become shareholder in the company and also be benefit for by its future growth. Means what the companies does, the company cannot pay huge salaries to the basically the tech employees or the employees who are very efficient. So they give the employees the option that they can purchase the share at a future date at a price which has been agreed today. So they have been issued at a price which have been agreed today after some period. Means there is a vesting period also, and there is a grant period also. So you have to wait till the vesting period and you can exercise that share at a price which have been agreed at the starting on the vesting period. The company plans to draft an ESOP scheme containing matters relating to grant of option vesting period. Vesting period means the period where which we have to hold the share, which we have to work for the company, and manner of determining exercise price which has been exercised from the day one, that is the exercise price. The company is approaching many talented person for assuming various senior roles in an organization startup. One such senior person, Mr. X, has shown interest in joining the company, however is skeptical regarding income tax exemption pertaining to SOP. It has a doubt that it may lead to withholding of tax by startup, impacting its immediate in-hand salary. So why he doesn't want to take the ESOP option? Because he believes that the TDS will be deducted on ESOP and his in-hand salary. Means TDS, TDS, what will the company do? The company will deduct the TDS and will pay it to the government. So he's having doubts of reduced in-hand salary. Growfine is planning to merge another startup engaged in similar line of activity to increase its size, revenue, and scalability. So what the startup do, they join together because these are small companies. They join together so that they can take the benefit of the synergy. However, founders of the company are clueless regarding the modalities of the same under relevant law. There are two types of merger. One is the normal route under section 230 and 232, and there is a fast track merger which is given under 233, which we will be studying in this only. Valuation of startup is often required for bringing in investment. The value of the startup is dependent upon its future growth perspective. Means how much growth it will be able to generate in future. Means it will grow at 10%, 20%, 30%. It is also quite likely that such a business idea has never been tested before. Means we are the first mover advantage. It only relies in dreams of future. Means it is a futuristic approach. Means we don't have any past data. Remember that we don't have any past data on the basis of which we are making some valuation. There is no discounted cash flow model. Means all that dependent upon the projected cash flows. Another problem is startup valuation is totally new on non-comparable business products and strategies. Because we are the first mover, so there is no one to compare also. Startups also depend upon many rounds of funding. Growfind may also approach another set of investors in further rounds of investing. So let's move on to the MCQ number 1. From the description given in case studies relating to finance brought by individuals from their own resources and whose believe in promoting affordable education to all in the country and also improving its standards in line with the mission of founders, which type of financing for a startup is being referred to. So mode of finance, you have understand that personal financing or banks or other modes. There is also modes of financing, methods of financing, and it is modes of financing. So modes of financing is basically, if you read also your chapter startup finance, it is divided into three categories. First is bootstrap, second is angel investors, and third is venture capital fund. And in bootstrap there are three parts also. First is trade credit, second is factoring, and third is leasing. So we have been option given of bootstrapping, venture capital financing, angel investors, and factoring. Let's understand each concept one by one. So what is bootstrapping? Bootstrapping is an individual is said to be bootstrap when he or she attempts to start and build a company from personal finance or from the operating revenue of the company. In boot financing, we are not raising funds from anyone. A common mistake made by the founder is that they make unnecessary expenses. This is all rubbish. So means in bootstrapping is that we are raising our own funds. We are raising we are the profit which we are getting from our business, we are reinvesting in that. So there are three types of bootstrapping: trade credit, factoring, and leasing. In this example, we are only talk about MCQ about the factoring part. So let's understand what is factoring. Factoring is a type of this is a financing method where accounts receivable of a business organization is sold to commercial finance company to raise capital. The factor then gets the hold of the accounts receivable and assume the task of collecting the receivable as well as doing what would have been the paperwork. Factoring means selling the trade receivable. Means I will be getting the money from my trade receivables after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So what I do, I approach one person who gives me money today itself by discounting it at some factor. So means I have my trade receivable for 100. I approach one person who is ready to give me today 95 rupees and will charge 5 rupees for the advance payment is being provided me to against the trade receivables. So this entire concept is known as factoring. From the description given below, which brought by individuals from their own startups and whose believe in promoting affordable education to the all. Here here we have involved others also. Where we have involved other also, grow finance issue shares to certain investors who are familiar with founders. So there are involvement of other investors also. So it is not bootstrap means there is no one except us. So let's understand what is venture capital and what is angel financing. As per Investopedia, investors invest in small startups or entrepreneurs, often angel investors, and among an entrepreneur's family and friends, they are like angel to us. They invest in the startups. The capital angel investors provide maybe a one-time investment to help the business propel on an ongoing injection of money to support and carrying the company through its difficult early stages. Early stages are difficult for a startup. Angel investors provide more favorable terms. If you understand that their approach was aligned to us, they were providing more favorable terms. Our approach and their approach were similar. That was we have understand in the case study. So I got the slight idea that might be it is angel investors. So let's understand what is venture capital financing so that we are 100% sure that the answer is angel investors. Venture capital financing. Venture capital financing means investment vehicle that manages fund of investors seeking to invest in startup funds and businesses with exponential growth potential. Venture capital funds means they are the type of funds who takes money from individuals and they pool it and then they invest it to other startups. So this is not our case. They are the investment vehicle. Venture capital is money provided by the professionals who alongside management invest in young rapidly growing company that have the potential to develop into significant economic contributors. So our answer in this case is angel investors. Funding by angel investors. Let's read the second MCQ. The founders of GrowFine believes that some benefits are available to startup. Considering the description provided in case study, which of the following statement is correct in accordance with the income tax laws? So we have to first understand how the tax on startup is being levied by the government. So there is a section called ATIC which deals with tax incentive for new startup. But it says its objective is that section ATIC provides an intense incentives to startup in order to aid their growth in the early phase of their business. So it is if you understand if you have a slight idea, so chapter 80 talks about the deduction under section 6A. Quantum of deduction. Accordingly, a deduction of remember 100% of the profit and gains derived by an eligible startup business from an eligible person is allowed for any 3 consecutive years out of the 10 years beginning from which in which the eligible startup is incorporated. Means 100% profit exempt in any 3 years out of the first 10 years. So meaning of eligible startup. So who will be classified as an eligible startup? Means if I start my business today, will I be able to classify it as an eligible startup? Let's understand that. Company or LLB engaged in eligible business. So it should be incorporated during the period 1/4/2016 to certain amendment has been made and it has been extended to 1/4/2024. The total turnover should be less than the 100 crore in the previous financial year and holds a certificate, eligible certificate from the notified IBMC, that is Interministerial Board for Certification. So these are the requirements. If these three conditions, company of four conditions I would say, company or LLP incorporated during the period 1/4/2016 to 1/4/2024, the turnover is less than 100 crore in the PY and holds a certificate of eligible business from the notified IMBC. So let's take that. Companies eligible to deduction at the rate 75%. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Companies eligible to deduct at the rate 100% of the profit from eligible business from any three consecutive financial year out of 10 years beginning from the year in which the startup is incorporated. Further, certificate of eligible business in this regard is provided by Interministerial Board for Certification. So this option is correct. As regards doubt by Mr. X regarding withholding tax in relation to ESOP is considered, which of the following statement is more appropriate? So we have to understand the concept of how TDS is being levied on ESOPs. So there is a separate section. 192 talks about TDS on salary. So there is a separate section 192 1C of Income Tax Act which talks about the provisions of the TDS on ESOPs. Under section 192 IC, a person being an eligible startup referred to in section 180 IC responsible for paying any income to the assessee being perquisite of the nature specified in clause 6 of section 2 of section 17 in any previous year relating to the assessment year shall deduct or pay tax as the case may be tax on such income within 14 days after the expiry of 48 months from the end of the relevant assessment year from the end of such sale from whether the earliest on the basis of the rates for the financial year. So this all is you can read later on. Therefore section 9 192 IC, this information is important, provides for deferment of the withholding tax in case of eligible startups. Means for startup the TDS is not deducted today, but the TDS is being deducted, shall deduct or pay TDS within 14 days from first, second, third, from the expiry of 48 months from the end of the relevant assessment year. So after 48 years, TDS will not be deducted today. Second, from the date of the sale of such specified securities or such sweat securities by the assessee, or from the date of the assessee ceasing up to be the employee of the person. Means if the sweat shares or the equity shares have been allotted and then the assessee or the employee sells the share from that 14 days or from that date the assessee, that is our employee, ceases to be in the employment of the person, employee ceases to be our employee. From that date, from within 14 days, TDS will be deducted. So TDS will not be deducted today, where we are when we are providing the option. Income tax would be withheld at a rate when option is exercised and shares are allotted. No, 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 no. So there are three limits if you remember. The company is an eligible startup holding certificate. Income tax would not be withheld. No, 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 no. The company is an eligible startup holding certificate of eligible business. However, such startup is allowed to, if we read the word here, deferment, defer, just a second. The company will be allowed to defer withholding written tax when option is exercised and shares are allotted to Mr. X. It is deducted in required manner after expiry of certain timelines and or happening of certain events. So this option is correct. The startup is planning merger with another startup engaged in similar activities. Which of the following statement is lined with the provisions of the law regarding the proposed merger of these startups? So let's understand the merger concept. So section 233 of the Companies Act provides the provision for the fast track merger. Fast track merger is governed by section 233 which provides that the expediting the merger of certain class of companies, which will be understanding later on what will be the certain class of companies. It offers a cost effective solution with shorter timelines and avoids the involvement of NCLT. If you remember in section 230 or 231, first the application needs to be sent to the NCLT. So they cross that concept. So there is no need to send the application to the NCLT. So first the application filed with the ROC or OL or the uh, regional director which have been appointed by the CG. That timeline to submit, if you have filed the application, then within 30 days the ROC or the official liquidator, OL is official liquidator, has to submit the objections. If no objections and suggestions have been received from the ROC or OL, then the RD will issue the certificate within 30 plus 15 days confirmation order that the merger is about to be happen. We get the order of the merger. And if the objection and certification received from the ROC or OC but not substantial, that is not substantial. So what will we do? We will give the confirmation order, that is the order of the merger, within 30 plus 30 days. And the fourth case is objection and suggestion received from the ROC OL sustainable. Then application before the NCLT. Then the entire process goes, which will be section 230 and 232. We have to follow that. A scheme of merger under, we will in the previous slide you have you remember that we thought about that there were certain class of companies on which that fast track merger will be applicable. Remember that if in fast track merger you will get the order of the merger within 60 days. So this process will run. A scheme of merger, to who will be covered? Merger between two or more small companies, merger between a holding and a wholly owned subsidiary company, two or more startups. So our case will get covered in this. It requires filing of proposed application with NCLT, NCLT process done away. It involves giving notice of proposed scheme to registrar and official liquidator, okay, and approval of scheme by both the scheme. After approval of scheme by creditors, the scheme is approved by the registrar of companies. Registrar of companies doesn't approve, registrar of company only registers. It involves giving notice of proposed scheme to registrar and official liquidator and approval of scheme by this company. After approval of the scheme is filled with the RD, regional director appointed by the CG. Registrar and official liquidator, the scheme is finally registered by the regional director. So this option is correct. Which of the following is not a factor to be considered for valuing a startup like GrowFine? So if I have constantly reminding you that we have to think about the future prospects. So there is no past data available. We are the first moving advantage. So the first option is correct. There is no past performance indicators. Education backgrounds of founders have to be seen. Uniqueness of products launched by the startup has to be seen. Valuation depends upon the future prospects. There is no model to discount it because there is no past data available. So there is a term called traction. If you don't know the meaning of it, it refers to the progress of a startup of a company and the momentum it gains. That is whether it will grow by 20%, 30% or 40% as the business grows. So we are done with the MCQ. Let's get back to the description part. GrowFine has issued equity shares to individuals having a face value of 10 per share at a price of 50 per share premium. What are the implications, which is tax commonly known as, and under what circumstances can GrowFine claim exemption from such a tax? So the tax, so if you are a shareholder, ठीक है, shareholder can be any person, that is the resident and the non-resident, and there is a closely held company. So shareholder, what he does, the shareholders closely held company receives any consideration and issues shares at a premium. That is, in our case, we are receiving the consideration of rupees 50 and the shares are being issued at a premium of rupees 40. Then in this case, income will be taxable under the head income from other sources, IFOS. 56 to 7b covers this. So what does 50 section 56 clause 2 subclause section 2 sec, section 56 subsection 2 clause 7b talks about? She says that where a closely held company CHS receives any consideration from any person, whether resident or non-resident, for the issue of shares in excess of their fair market value, that is 40 rupees, determined under Rule 11A, such excess amount shall be taxable under the head IFOS. However, there are exemptions. That is, company receive consideration from BC or VCF. CHS receive consideration from specified entities. Company receive consideration is a startup recognized by the DPIT. If you remember, our startup was recognized by the DPIT. It was given in the case study. Rule 11.2 talks about the valuation process. It says that how will the valuation be done? The valuation will be done on the NAV method or the merchant banker as per the discounted cash flow model. This is not, this is the extra knowledge. And after exam there, and after exam, if you are receiving money from a non-resident person at a premium, then also tax will be there. Means if this if this the shareholder, just a second. If this the shareholder is a non-resident taxation person, then in the budget it has been proposed of 2024, then also it will be taxable. Earlier what was happening is that if it was a resident individual, then it was taxable, but it was a non-resident investor, then not, it was taxable. But in the proposed budget it has been amended that it will be taxable in both the cases. So what does our descriptive answer says about? Under clause 7b of subsection 2 of section 56 of Income Tax Act, where a company not being a company in which the public are substantially interested receives any consideration exceeds the fair market value, the aggregate consideration taxable under the income from other sources. I have told you earlier also it is called angel tax. However, this clause provides for the exemption venture capital undertaking or class of companies notified by the CG. Accordingly, the government has notified in para 4. This you don't have to remember anything. You have to just carry that case study. You have to know that in this the startup financing was asked, in this the exemption was provided. If you have issued a share at a premium and some similar case study come, then we will copy paste the entire answer. There are some conditions which have to be followed. This should be recognized by the CG. The paid up share capital and the share premium should issued plus proposed should be less than 25 crore, and it should not have been invested in any of the following prescribed assets. The lock-in period is 7 years, means in this asset you cannot invest for a period of 7 years. A startup fulfilling above conditions has to fall with DIP, which is forwarded by the CBDT. By fulfilling above conditions and taking advantage of the above, startup can claim exemption from paying tax. Means section 56 is applicable to all, but certain exemptions are provided in which startup is also provided. Startup has to fulfill certain conditions. If the startup is able to fulfill that prescribed conditions, the paid up share capital plus the security premium, the not been invested in certain assets plus recognized by the DPIT. If these all conditions are fulfilled, then the exemption will be granted to the startup and no tax will be levied on the startup. So government is providing certain, if you remember in case study also, it was mentioned that the government is providing certain exemption benefit to the startups. So let's move on to the last part. Startup GrowFine is also planning to approach other investors to perform its business requirements, which specific points shall be considered while carrying out due diligence. So in exam, if you are stating, quickly move on to the due diligence chapter. So here we will find that in ICSM it has been covered to a great extent in page number 17.6. So there are certain type of due diligence: commercial or operational, financial, tax, information system, legal, environmental, personal. So in this they are talking about the type of the due diligence, financial due diligence. And in financial due diligence, if we see what we have to check about the brief history about the target company and the background of its promoters. Who is the, what the company does, what the company is aiming for done in future, who are the promoters, what they do, what is their past history, review of the financial statement, how much they are doing in past, how much they are projecting, cash flows, whether the company has some kind of cash flows, positive cash flows, management and employees, there is some good management employees, tech employees, accounting policies which the company follows, the taxation part, the financial projection, what the company hopes that the statutory compliance, whether the company is doing statutory compliance or not. So the entire point have been covered in detailed extent from ICSM. You just have to open ICSM and copy it. But answer they have given is slightly small answer. So what you have to do, you have to elaborate it by using ICSM. So I will read that answer also with you. A prospective investor shall carry out due diligence, background of the promoters and credentials, future growth and numbers, business model of the startup and type of service differentiated to meet specific customer needs or solve a customer problem, should show potential to scale up. कैसे scale कर सकते हैं, market size, extent of competition, existing revenues, future acquirers, subsequent round of funding, how will be the investor will be able to exit. So this will be covered all in the due diligence. So we have been able to cover our case study in the entirely crisp manner, in the most possible manner which I will be able to do. So if you have any query, any suggestion, the comment box is open for the discussion. Thank you. I hope you like the video. Thank you.